Ever had one of those days where a crappie just stare at your bait and refuse to bite? Well, this custom combo is what I call a glass breaking emergency jig. And today, I'm going to show you how to build it. You're watching Fishing in 3D, so stay tuned. I'm going to try to put everything into just a real small area here, or hopefully you can see it. Over here is all of the stuff that I'm going to be using. I'll go through that here in just a second, but just to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be using. These are air beds that I've got a little bubbler back behind it. I'm fixing to turn on in a second, and it's going to bubble up these air beds and make them real like a fluid type in there. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that one in. This might be kind of a long video, but I don't really want to break this one up. I'm going to show you start to finish. We're going to paint some jig heads. I'll show you all the stuff that I use to make these with. And I'm going to bring this up to the camera to where you can look in there. See how that bed is just kind of turned off fluid now and it's bubbling up in there? I'm going to turn the rest of these on. Got little air valves back here behind them. Sometimes they get a little stiff in there. And you got to loosen them up just a little bit, and then they'll start flowing on you pretty good. Let's turn this one on a little bit. Oh yeah, getting really loose on that one. I'm going to have to turn that one down a little bit. There we go. And then the black is generally always the hardest, and I don't know why. And I'll tell you what I got going on down in these fluid beds. As you can see, they're PVC couplers. There's a plug on the bottom. Here's your PVC coupler. This is a, let's see, what size is this? 1.5 inches. This is an 1.5 inch PVC coupler, and then just a little piece of PVC pipe put in here. And what you do is when you break these apart, take them apart, I have a piece of newspaper sitting in between the air chamber and the fluid bed. And I just cut a little piece of newspaper out, stick it in there and screw it all back together, and that's what gives you your fluid bed. Whoop. I'm gonna put my air hose back on this one. There you go. You can see it kind of bubbling up in there now. Okay, first things first. I don't have any more of my jig heads. This is a 1/8 ounce jig head with a, this has got a sickle hook in it. Let me show you that right there. And I'm kind of partial to sickle hooks. Some people don't like them. I have never ever had one break on me, and I've caught a lot of crappie with them. And some other ones that we're going to look at today. This one is a peel head. This got the eyes on it right there. And I think these are number 4 sickle hooks, I think. Let me look through my bag here. Oh no, it doesn't say. And then these are the ones that I painted that have wire keepers on them. And the reason they have wire keepers on them is where you can do stuff like this. You can put different baits on the back end of them. You can see the head on it. And there you go. You can put anything on it. You can put these little jigs on the back of them. I use that a lot because, you know, you can go to Walmart and you can buy those little boxes of jigs and what have you like that, and they're mostly all just trash. But if you take them off and you put them in front of a nice head, like on here, it makes all the difference in the world. There you go, right there. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to powder paint a couple of these jig heads, and I'll show you the different methods between the two and the way I'm doing it. Always keep in mind that if you use black like I do, and then I'm using orange, yellow, and green, I like a lot of color, I like a lot of flash. When you get to the black, use it very sparingly because a little bit goes a long way. FYI on that deal. My jig that I'm using is a Griffin jig. I don't have one of the other jigs like the Peaks, I believe they're called. They're $200 and something. This one is about 120 bucks. I've been using this particular jig for close to 4 years now, and the only thing it wears out on it, it's got a little rubber band right here, a little O-ring. Sometimes it gets a little dry rotted from just sitting out in the atmosphere, and you change it out. And other than that, I hadn't had a moment's trouble with it. It tightens down good and tight on my plate here. It does have an adjustable where you can bring it up and down, and this one also rotates. Right now I've got it working where it's pretty stiff. It's not going to turn real easy, and you adjust that by this little knob right here. You can tighten that up, and then you can also tighten up the little knob on the end. It will hold your handle in place too. And then you've got your 2 adjustment knobs right here on the end. And normally when I get everything set for the type hook that I'm using, a lot of times I don't even use this front knob. I'll just use the back knob back here. But anyway, we're going to throw one up in here, and I'll show you how I catch this in here. I catch it right here on the back part of the spine of the hook, and that way I have a little bit better leverage on it, because what I do is I pull on it pretty hard when I go to tie up on it. So anyway, I'm fixing to turn the heat gun on, and I'll show y'all how I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna raise the camera up just a little bit before we tie the jig. And just to let you know, in case I forget, once we get through painting these, I'm gonna put them in the oven for about 30 minutes at about 250 degrees, and I'm gonna bake that finish on. And when I get finished with it, you can drop it on the concrete and it won't make a dent or anything. These things are gonna be pretty much bulletproof when I finish them. But right now, all you're dealing with is just a regular old head on it, no color, no paint, no nothing. And so that's what we're gonna use. So anyway, I'm fixing to fire the heat gun up and get my pliers out. And then once we get into the tying part of it, I'll go over all the material that I'm using and stuff. So for right now, what you're going to need is, I'm going to get some of this stuff out of my way where I don't get it tangled up, is just a couple of brushes. We're going to go into each one of them. Some of these I've got marked, like this one is my black brush, you know, so I try not to mix them up where I have a bunch of different colors in there that I don't really want at the time. And you can even use these brushes, these small paint brushes like this, but you don't really get much material on, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a minute. But for right now, I'm just going to grab my jig head. I'm going to clamp it right here with my forceps. That's all they are. You can spend a lot of money on these if you want to. I buy them, they're pretty cheap. Like maybe $3, $4, $5 a pair, and a pair will last you a long time. A lot of times you can buy these in bundles, and they'll work just fine. So anyway, let me do a little something here. I'm just going to turn on a little bit more light where hopefully you can see better. Okay, got a little more light blowing in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, the first one I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to heat that jig head up. I've got a heat gun sitting over here on the side, and I'm just going to rotate that head around. I'm not going to show you this because I don't have enough camera space up here. And once we heat it up, I'm going to go straight into the orange, and I'm going to dunk it all the way down, tap it, and it covered it pretty well. I'm going to go one more time just for grins. And then once I do that, then I'm going to go into the yellow. And I'm only going to dip it halfway into the yellow right there. And then I'm going to go into the green just a little bit. And I'm almost covered up all of my yellow. I put it in there too far. But there you go. So I'm going to go back into my yellow one more time. There. There's all 3 colors right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my black. I'm going to put some on my brush. And like I say, you want to use this kind of sparingly. Little sprinkle there. Little sprinkle. Little sprinkle. And that's what it looks like right there. And these are called, or what I call swirl heads. All right. And what I use, you know, I have all my tools down here. What I use, let me grab another one. Get out my old trusty faithful here. These are little picks that you can buy at Harbor Freight. I think 4 of them come in a package. And what I have done is I've just straightened the tip out on this one. Heated it up, straightened it out a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my head just a little bit. About 3, 4, 5 seconds, not very long. And then I'm going to come over here. Oh, shaky hands won't hardly do this. Not hot enough. If that paint won't move, you got to put more heat on it. Just like that. Just want to swirl it around. Okay, now what do you want to do after that is you want to put it back on the heat. So it's got clumps in some spots. And you put it back on the heat and it will smooth out those clumps for you. And kind of blend those colors. Let me get it in the picture. There we go. There you go. And it blends those colors in for real well for you. I could have used a little bit more black. I like a little more black in mine. But there you go right there. And then, like I say, you need to put this in the oven for about 30 minutes. Be careful when you grab these guys. Sometimes they're a little warm. And then what you want to do is you want to check this eye right here to make sure there's no powder paint in that eye. And if there is, you can take another one of these tools that's got the point on it, heat it up on your heat gun, and then just stick it through that eye right there. And give it a twirl, pull it out, do the other side the same way, and that'll pretty much clear it out for you. Once you put this in the oven, it's going to look totally different. As far as the colors are there, yes, but it will smooth it out a lot more and really make it pretty. I'm going to lay that one off to the side. We'll grab one more, and then we'll start tying here in just a minute. Be careful. Some of this stuff does get hot when you're handling it. So anyway, we're going to go back onto the heat gun. Got my heat gun at Harbor Freight, not real expensive. Give that a good heat. And now we're going to dip it all the way into the yellow. Give it a tap. There we go. That really turned out good right there. And so, before it cools too much, we're going to put a bottom coat on of the green. There you go. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to grab this black. I may have to beat that one out. Oh man, I got a lot on there. Well, we'll just see how it's going to turn out. We just dumped a whole lot in there. That's okay. Let's see how it turns out. Put it back on the heat gun. Get it good and liquidy. I'm going to hold it down here where I can handle it a little better. A little piece don't want to come off of there. There we go, kind of blobbed up on the end there. Sometimes they will the paint will want to stay on your end of your tool here, and that's fine. Sometimes I knock it off, sometimes I leave it on there. But anyway, there's the swirl on it. It didn't turn out real bad. Now I'm going to put the heat to it. Kind of let it get happy over there. Get good and hot. You can kind of tell how long you need to leave it on the heat is when you're watching it, you'll see those ridges starting to lay down a little bit. Here we go. There you go. That didn't turn out too bad after all. Pretty attractive head right there. Okay. Good deal. See if that thing's hot. And of course, I check my eye to make sure it's open. And it is. We're good to go there. Now I'm going to drop these into the oven for about 20-25 minutes at about 240-50 degrees and let them bake on. And I'll be right back.